Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. These are shattered pieces from my childhood. Quite literally. There is a shattered piece of a statue here. There is like some loose buttons here. There is like some teeth here as well. Now, let me tell you a story about one of these teeth. When I was a child, I was like running around as usual, but then unfortunately, one day I tripped. I fell and I hit my face on the concrete floor. When I woke up, I realized one of my front teeth had gone missing. It had shattered off, leaving me with just like a tiny bit on the top. Now, unfortunately, that was my permanent tooth, so my family had to spend quite a lot of money just to fix it. This teeth here, in fact, this teeth here is fake. That's like completely fake. And now it has become a timeless worry of mine that every time I eat something, it's just going to just break again because, first of all, it is fake. But mistakes like this happens all the time, right? Perhaps you were young, you were a kid, you did a mistake like this here and there. Like my cousin did the other day, where she decided that the best way to clean the phone was to just drop it in a glass of water. No one was harmed, of course, except for the parents' wallet. But that's fine, right? I did a mistake too. I decided to lean on something that doesn't have any leaning support, so I just kind of fell backwards. So it's my other cousin who did another mistake of just touching fire directly. She doesn't know what a fire is, so that is that. She was fine after a bit of crying, but you know what? These mistakes are all fine. This is all just like silicate mistakes that happens all the time, right? And you know what they say? Mistakes are an essential part in learning and growing. Now, are they though? Because like while mistakes happen while you're learning and growing, are they truly essential? Because essential here means it's a must happen. It's like an absolutely needed thing to happen. But it would surely cost like less money if that mistakes didn't happen. And also you could just tell the child to not do so. Are these mistakes truly necessary or essential? Because what if you were to encounter a mistake that changed your life forever for the worse? What if you're like the baby that got switched, given to the wrong parents just recently, Bogor, Indonesia? The baby was given to the wrong parents and that didn't been discovered for like a year. This mistake has been going on for like a year until just recently. You must imagine the confusion on the parents' faces, realizing that the child that they've been cared for, they have protected for this entire year, was never actually theirs. You must imagine the confusion the baby felt looking at their presumed mom and dad, their papa and mama, being taken away from them, replaced by a new set of people they do not know and do not bond with. Is this somehow essential to the growth of the baby? Is it somehow essential for the parents to learn how to become a parent, for the baby to learn how the world works, how love and compassion works? No. What if you're like the girl who had the once in a lifetime experience of having all of her four limbs amputated because of a mistake? She was misdiagnosed with a fever and just given paracetamol and discharged, while in reality, she had a bacterial infection that caused all her blood vessels to be damaged slowly by the bacteria inside, causing internal bleedings. Just after discharge, mere hours later, she was back in an intensive care unit because she suffered multiple organ failures. And unfortunately, the infection has spread to both her arms and legs, causing them all to be amputated. That was horrible. That was awful. That was a mistake. What about the 2,000 other children that died because of simple mistakes like this, not every month, not every year, but every day? With millions more leaving the hospital with lifelong injuries, it begs the question, are these mistakes somehow essential to their growth? Are they important, really needed in their growth, even though they might cost the children themselves their own lives? No, of course not. But there is something that you cannot deny here, that mistakes, for better, for worse, will happen eventually. Mistakes, even though it is an essential to the part of learning and growing, it is nonetheless a part in learning. Not every pilot needs to crash down a plane just to graduate, just to learn how to be a pilot. But every pilot will make a mistake because we are all human at the end of the day. We are all flesh and blood. We're not perfect machinery that can do everything perfectly all the time. So, how should we face these mistakes? What should we do about these mistakes? Because right now, mistakes are taking hold of everyone. Students at school, afraid to answer a question on the board, afraid to answer the teacher, afraid to answer any question or exercise. Why? Because they fear mistakes. Is this how should we see mistakes? As something to be feared of, as something like a plague that we should avoid at all costs, afraid to learn anything because you're afraid of making mistakes while you're doing it? No. Then how should we look at it? There are many ways to answer this question, but I'll tell you mine. I'll keep it brief. Because we are imperfect machinery, we are not timeless steel and bones, we are flesh and blood that runs on less electricity than a light bulb, we will make mistakes. And we have to accept that. It is hardly ever far removed from our daily lives, and it's a consequence of being human. But because they are inevitable, why don't we use these mistakes that happens, whether you like it or not, to benefit you? I'm not saying you should be glad that a mistake happened. I'm not saying you should be happy that a tragedy happened. But what I'm saying is, when a mistake does happen, I want you to take the bright side of it and just like learn from it. Just like how every plane crash can teach us more about plane safety, just like how every wrong mistake that you did once when you're learning can be better, can like help you later on. You should use these mistakes as a learning experience. Because in our perpetual attempt to be better, in our perpetual attempt to be the best we can, we will make mistakes, we will make missteps. So why don't we take these mistakes as a new take? Why don't we take these missteps as a new stepping stone to be better than we have ever been before? Thank you. That is all I have to say.